forward, what do you want to accomplish now? I mean,
just
he's going to move forward and just...
I hope people will take whatever he says in the future with a grain of salt and not think it reflects on the whole Chantai-san school. I hope people, if people are interested in Chantai-san, there's enough information that's been put out there about it. I hope they seek the real information. I hope they seek his real technique and his real attitudes about things. So I hope people don't think he's a fraud. He wasn't a man that lied. He had nothing to lie about. He wasn't a man that exaggerated. He had nothing to exaggerate about. He wasn't a big boaster even. He was a guy with great achievement, right?
Well, he never told us stories about winning fights. He would always tell us stories about losing fights. We would hear him about his winning from other people. People that knew him and had seen it, or people that knew him in China. I mean, one great story is we had a school on 17th Street, and the lady downstairs was from Toisan, and she happened to see him in the elevator, and she almost fainted on the floor. And she came up and talked to us, and she said, you know, I saw him perform on the street when I was a little girl, and I never forgot it. And here he is, in America, in the elevator. She couldn't believe it. She was like, when I was a little girl, 10 years old, I never forgot that. I saw Chantai-san on the, you know, and this perform, do his wire break and all this crazy Qigong stuff he would do. You know, so we would hear stuff from other people. He never said that. He would tell us about, you know, yeah, you know, this guy did this and, you know, hit me, and he'd tell us about his teacher. He tapped his teacher, and his teacher, you know, knocked him, you know, galley west, and was missing some teeth. He kind of enjoyed saying, you know, this, I learned this way, because I learned because it didn't work. He told us stories about, you know, Mamo Ju, what's his name? Punk, you know.
Beat him with the stick.
Yeah, he said, no, beat
Let me ask
so
something.
bad. What?
Did I tell you to tell these stories? Did we get together before? And
I don't know. Where do we go with the camera here? Where's the cutoff? You see him slip me the money.
Because what's funny is, I just blogged about this. You go look at my blog from yesterday, right? I said, my teacher never told a story about winning a fight. I always talk about losing a fight, right? We didn't set this up.
It's true.
I just set the stage, and he jumps right in. Why? Because this is true. That's what we were taught. We were taught, like, hey, you know, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, you know?
And I'm sure we had many disadvantages to not being Chinese, studying with him, but we had some advantages too. Because as David was saying, you know, in Chinese Confucian society, you can never question what your teacher tells you to do. It's just not done. You just can't do that. And we didn't know. We're not Chinese. So we would say, I don't get it. This doesn't seem to work. Why would it work? I don't get it. And so then we would demonstrate it. And then we go, oh, get it. Because we would say, that's silly. Why would you do that? I don't understand why. How would that work? What if I just do this? And then it would be, you know, bada boom, bada bing. See? Okay? See? And that would be it.
One thing, this is true, right?
But before you go on, but the thing is, we wouldn't get to that point because, you know, a well-educated Chinese person would never question their teacher. Never.
Also, we would stumble on things just because we were stupid, right? We would ask, like, we were just learning Cantonese, like out of a book, and then, like, you know how it was, right? Sometimes we'd ask somebody, how do you say something? Then we'd go to him, right? We were just trying to learn something. So, I don't know if it was me or Steve Ventura, right? Just for the record, I was introduced by Steve Lorette. So Steve Lorette is my senior. Steve Lorette introduced me and David Gonzalez and Steve Ventura, right? And then Michael Perello, first year on, Stephen Vincenzi, and then us. I don't remember whether it was me or Steve Ventura, but we learned the phrase monkey, which was like, how do you use this, right? Or what's the application?
What's the use?
But it also sounds like what use is this? Like if you don't say it right, it could be like, you know, what use is this? So we made the mistake of like when Sifu would show us a move, we were trying to get the application. We were trying to like piss him off, but we didn't know any better because we were like dumb kids. I was like 17. Steve was like 19. We were like didn't know what we were doing. Like, so we used to ask Sifu like, what use is that? I'm sure like his head it was like, you know, it looks useless. What, you know, like, so he would always make sure he really show it to us. So like, there's video on the internet of him kicking me in the nuts because Michael Perello filmed it and stuck it up, walked up right to me, put his hand on my eye, so like an idiot, I look and he kicks me right in the nuts. we learned, we were lucky. It was an interesting journey because we were Americans. We were too stupid not to know and not to ask. We asked a lot and we experienced a lot. And also, I think he cut us slack because he knew that we weren't 100% educated about the culture. Whereas his Chinese students, we heard a story that a lot of Chinese would start to study with him, and he expected so much from them because they were Chinese. They couldn't muster it, they couldn't hold to that thing. So he would teach Chinese and most of them. Now we have one training brother who's Chinese in New York City, who's advanced to all of us. Right, you know, the guy in the LML Association. Right. We didn't really train with him because he's part of the LML. Well, he's my teacher's most senior student in the United States, and he's Chinese. And nobody gives him because he's part of the association. But other than that, most of Sifu's students are Americans, and that's because, like I said, the Chinese had a lot of trouble with him. Right.
Well, even Kenny Chin, who actually is a student, was a
Yeah,
student.
Kenny, I'm sorry.
He would pick on Kenny a lot.
Well, Kenny was
Because he was like
Chinese American. He's Chinese American, so.
So he would pick on him because he would be like, well, you're, you know, Chinese American, your family's Chinese, you should know. So I'll pick on you. These guys, you know, they're strange creatures from another world, I don't know, but you, I know I can pick on.
You're barely human. If you're not Chinese, you're barely human. You're like singing monkeys or something like that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.
All right. All right, folks, there you go. Just One here for the Just One show. Keep watching. Peace.